Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the KnitOnePurrrTwo Knitting Podcast. And it's only a whole year later than the first episode I posted. Hooray! My name is Hannah. I'm a knitter from Birmingham in the West Midlands in the UK, and I have been busy. Not necessarily knitting wise, but I have been busy, and life is very different now, because when I posted the first episode that did quite well and I was really happy that people enjoyed it, I was very heavily pregnant, like nearly popping, and probably about 5 or so days after I posted that, I had my baby, and now she's nearly 1. So I know that this is a very, very long time coming, but life has just been a bit crazy. And everything looks very different now to what it did 11 and a half months ago, 12 months ago. So yeah, it's taken a while to get back on here, but hopefully there won't be a long wait until the next episode, because I'm kind of back into more of a routine now. I'm back at work, for example. Me and my husband are both kind of used to a bit more parent life than we were. So yeah, hopefully there won't be a massive wait until the next one. But I'm here, I exist. Knitting is here. Yeah, so just thought I'd come on and do another episode and see how we get on. I've already recorded this once. I recorded it about 2 months ago when my husband took our baby, Annalise, out for a walk, and I had like a spare hour and a half, and I just waffled. And then when I went to edit it, I was like, I'm going to spend like 6 hours editing all of this ridiculous nonsense out that I'm talking. Like I was going into like loads of detail about things I didn't need to go into detail about. So I thought, you know what, I'll just re-record it. And then 2 months happened, because that's what life is like, and there's never an opportunity to do anything apart from sterilise bottles and sing Wheels on the Bus. So it's taken me a while. This jumper that I'm wearing, that we're going to talk about now, what I'm wearing, I did finish again a year ago, and I've only wore it a handful of times, but I thought I should wear it today. And actually, the more I wear it, the more I see it on camera, the more happy I am with it. But we're going to talk about it anyway. So what I'm wearing, this is the Aosta jumper, or Aosta Sweater, by Knit Pearl Girl, and I made it in Sublime Phoebe. I have notes, and I said I wouldn't look at them, but I definitely need to look at them. Sublime Phoebe in lime, but I made it on 6mm needles because I'm such a loose knitter, and I finished it, like a year ago. It was on my needles for a good while before that as well, so I feel like it's been kind of hovering around the house in this kind of strange state for a long time. I like it. However, it's story time. So I finished this not long after the first episode aired, and then when I say finished it, I ran out of yarn, because I'd already bought the yarn, and then, as I always do, I buy yarn and then try and match that amount to a project, which does usually work, but it's not obviously the same as if you was to just already have an idea of what you want to make and then order it. So I'm trying to learn from that mistake. It's fine. It's cropped though. Like, I don't really want to stand up because I'm wearing joggers, because I'm doing that typical thing where on the top half you look okay. And I'm just gonna basically, it's like, here's my joggers. It's quite cropped, which is fine, and absolutely happy with that, because I wear a lot of like dresses and high-waisted skirts and things. But it also means that the sleeves are kind of short, and they're shorter than bracelet length. Like, if we actually look at them, I have long arms, I'm 5'8", I'm long-limbed, long-bodied, and I think I made this in a medium. I think I did. My notes say medium, but then some other notes say small, so who knows, one of those. And I think because I was so conscious of how much yarn I had left, when I'd done the one, when I was doing the first one, I kind of had to, calculate with the amount that I had left and think, well, I need to half this much. I think I must have finished the body first, and then when I cast on back for the first sleeve. I thought, right, I've got to say like, I don't know, 4 balls left, so I had to keep 2 for one sleeve for one, 2 for the other, and then ended up with having like these really short sleeves. However, I haven't blocked it because I'm a rebel and an anarchist and I can't be bothered, but I haven't blocked it, and maybe I would get a little bit more room out of them if I did. Like, I reckon I could get a bit more stretch out so they were a bit longer, and I'd like, oh, it's a bit awkward that I haven't actually woven the ends in, and it would make me feel better if they were longer, and I'd definitely wear it more. But I think because they're a little bit shorter than I wanted them to be, because of my own fault, not because of Sophie's instructions. Her pattern is amazing. It's on its 3rd version, I think. She sent through a 3rd amended version for different sizes, and possibly a different neck opening. I can't remember really, but yeah, I think I would make it again, but I would just definitely make it longer. Also, the yarn I made it with is like a chainette yarn, so it has like a lot of elastic in it and it stretches a lot, so I could probably block it out a bit, but I also find that when I was knitting it, I was possibly like stretching it a little bit with my hands, and then obviously when it's knitted up, I don't know, that could be nonsense. But it is Aosta. It is lovely. It's a beautiful pattern. It's a really good beginner friendly pattern if you've never done anything neck down as well, top down. You can see that the neckline is really wide on me. If I actually just pop it up a bit, and I'm actually okay with that because I don't like too much stuff kind of crowding around my neck and my throat. I've got a shirt underneath, so you can kind of see that poking through. You can put elastic in it, but if I put elastic in it, it'd be more turtlenecky, and I feel as if it was like up here as well, it would look big in this area and then small in these areas, and that would just be strange. So yeah, this is the Aosta that I was talking about. I call it the key lime pie jumper. I've called it the Grinch jumper. What I would say for the yarn is it is very light. So I actually had a different jumper on that I went out in today, and I just swapped it and put this one on because it had longer sleeves. And it's very light. So a whole jumper, you know, if you were taking something on holiday with you and you wanted layers, it's a good one to have. Just buy enough that you can make a whole jumper with it, I guess, would be my advice. I also wore this on my birthday, on my 30th, when I was heavily pregnant, and had a lovely day. And then I actually was taken to hospital that night. We're suspecting preeclampsia, and they induced me from that day. So this jumper, when I put it on, I do kind of think of the hospital and being in like the maternity triage, surrounded by women that were giving birth, and there's a little bit of like PTSD from that. So I need to change the narrative of this jumper. I need to wear it more so that when I see it on my shelf, I don't think, oh my god, do you remember that horrific birthday that I had? Yeah, see, it's just funny proportions with the rest of me. But yeah, it's the Aosta. I need to stop going on about it. It is better than I think it is, I think. So in different angles, if I like style it in a different way, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I'm wearing. I'm going to stop recording now and have a break. Also, as another note a postscript note, is I think that you are either a process knitter. I know people talk about this. I haven't made this up. But I think you're either a process knitter or an outcome knitter. And I think for this piece, I possibly was a process knitter. I think I started knitting, and then every time I did a new project, I wanted to learn a new skill or new technique. And I think that this was just an opportunity for me to like kind of really stretch when I first started this, which was a good while ago now, stretch my understanding of top-down knitting with a simple pattern. And I think that's really interesting about what our motivations are to create things and to make things, is whether it's process or outcome. Because the amount of time that you have to make, to knit something takes a long time and a lot of money sometimes, depending on what you're using to make it. And then to then, you know, versus how much you actually wear things is just quite interesting, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got many words today. This is probably going to be the worst sequel that has existed. But maybe this was a process knit and not an outcome knit, and maybe that's okay. Maybe. So I'm going to go on to my finished objects. Disclaimer, I thought that I was going, like, pre-baby life, I thought I was going to have loads of time to knit, because I was like, baby sleep, I'll just knit, she'll just sleep on me and I can just knit around her. And I remember when I was in my probably third trimester, my mum kind of hit me with this wrecking ball of like, get your knitting in now, Han, because you won't have time to do it. And I thought, okay, I will find time. And I was wrong. I was very naive on how much time it takes to be a parent and to have a baby, and especially a baby that doesn't sleep that great. Annalise has all the energy in the world, and she's like the best baby ever. And just, I want to eat her. She's so adorable. But obviously everything that comes with having a child, including travelling around with them, or, you know, doing bottles or prepping food, or going to baby classes. We go to loads of classes and lots of outings, and I like to be out with her and I like her to see things. And we're always on the bus because I don't drive, so she's a proper bus baby, and she waves at everyone and she claps her hands at people, and she's now starting to go at people, which I don't know whether is okay or not in 2023, but she does air kiss people, strangers. And I just thought that even if she was like playing or sleeping or whatever, I would knit when she was doing those things, and I do not, because I want to play with her as well. And I think I can knit without looking, but then she gets, at this point, at this age, she's also thinking, what's mummy got? So she'll come over, and it's not really doable. So I've knit a lot less than I thought I was going to, but I am getting better. I'm finding more time for it, and I am getting, me and my husband Jack, we're getting slicker on our routines and things, and he's amazing. He does a lot. So I thought I'd have like loads and loads of, I'd continue at the rate possibly, because I was making lots of small things, but which was ridiculous really, because I knit a lot during pregnancy because I didn't really do much else. But I do have a couple of finished objects. One of them is upstairs because she's sleeping under it right now, but I'm going to try and grab it at some point and not wake her up. But I'm going to show you this thing. Because I posted about this on Instagram the other day, and I can't believe the photos of Annalise in it. She's so little. I made this blanket when she was probably 4 weeks old, and it was like around Christmas time, and my husband was off work too, so I had a little bit more time and space to do things. My family were all sick over Christmas, so we actually just hung out, just the three of us, which was lovely but strange. So I had some time to knit, and I had this chunky yarn, so I was like, I'll do this really quick, easy pattern. This pattern is the C2C blanket, written it down, by Louise Bolanos of happylittleme.com. It's a free pattern, but you can pay to have the ads taken out, but it's like a free pattern on her blog, and it's called the C2C, the corner to corner blanket. And I loved it. I found it on Pinterest because it's super simple. It was just garter stitch, and then but it still has this little accent of eyelets running along the edges. And basically what you do is you start in one corner, say you start here, and then you knit and obviously change colours every I don't know, 6 rows or so. I think I change every 6 rows. And then when you get to halfway through the amount of yarn you have, which is very good for somebody like me who just buys yarn and has no idea what to do with it, then when you get to halfway, you then know you have to stop and carry on the other way because you're making a big square. So this is it. I'm not mad about the colours, and I feel like I'm starting on all the negatives here, but I'm not mad about the colours because I was just stash busting really, and I ended up using like a grey and this kind of dusty pink colour in amongst these pastels of yellow, like lemon and mint, and the white. It's made, I should say, it's made with James C. Brett Flutter by Chunky, which is the grey and the yellow. And then the white is King Cole Yummy. again, a random ball from a charity shop. And then the pink is an Aldi yarn. Aldi supermarket have always bring out some chenille yarns in the autumn, and I bought some a long time ago. And I thought I'd try them all together. They do work all together, kind of, although some of them are thinner. You can kind of see that these 4 colours, the pink is slightly bulkier. But I just don't think they're really my colour palette. But anyway, I just wanted to use my hands. I felt like I hadn't really done much process-wise for a while, for a good month since having her. And I think something they don't prepare you for in NCT classes is how much you're going to sit and then not be able to move your hands, because obviously you're doing things. I was feeding her myself as well. She was combi fed for a long time. So I just wanted to move my hands. So I made this blanket for her for Christmas, and she had it on Christmas Day. And it was lovely, and it's very soft, and it's very squishy, and she does look very cute in it, and it was an easy pattern. I so recommend the pattern. However, the yarn. So the yarn here, as you can see, looks like a hamster has gone in and chewed it up. And I'm really annoyed because I followed the instructions on the ball band, and I tied a knot before I started with each colour, and then wove all the ends in, which was a lot of ends when you look at it, all along this side. This side's not too bad. This bit is awful. And I'm so embarrassed to wrap her in this blanket when we go out, because people will be like, oh, that's such a nice blanket, did you knit it? But you know when there's a difference when people say it in that tone, or they say, oh, that's a nice blanket, did you knit it? So I don't really use it that much. However, I'm never going to frog it or anything, because I feel like it's a moment. It's like a process piece, even though it was intended to be an outcome piece. But also because it's just a bit of a milestone of kind of naivety, of new motherhood, and wanting to make something for her. And if only the yarn hadn't let me down, or maybe I shouldn't blame the yarn. But it's just me that like some stitches are just completely coming undone. And maybe it's because like a chenille yarn is so soft and it doesn't have much grip to itself with the stitches. But we're going to be fully transparent on this podcast and show you things that don't always work. So this is the C2C blanket. Yeah, I mean, she's cozy in it, and it reminds me of her when she was a tiny baby, but I'm not probably going to use it that much. I am doing a pink one. Straight afterwards I was like, that's annoyed me, this yarn breaking so quickly, so I started a all pink one that uses this yarn, and then there was also a lighter colour in the packet as well, so I've kind of done half and half, I think, from what I can remember. However, I have like 10 rows to carry on. I've got like to the top section, I've probably got this much to do. I just haven't done it. It's just sitting upstairs on a pile. And I think that's because it stopped becoming blanket weather when I was making it, so it just got kind of dashed to the side. But I should really finish that. I should just do it tonight. I should just sit down and just finish this blanket, and I'd use it a lot more, I think, because this one is just sitting in the cupboard. Yeah, I've made the decision to not even try and go upstairs because if I go upstairs she's going to wake up and then I won't be able to do any of it. So I'm going to just insert that finished object in amongst, sorry, I moved the camera, in amongst the rest of this footage. I'm going to show you the most recent finished object that I'm super proud of, that I've made, and it's taken me a really good long while to finish. I'm just going to weave this annoying end in with my fingers, okay, to the back. So this, oh my god, it is quite cute, I've got to admit. This little thing is the Catching Waves cardigan, and it is a pattern from Serdar. I am a mega fan of Serdar. I really love their yarns, I love their patterns, and this was from their new collection, from their, I think it was their spring summer collection, possibly, it must have been, it's taken me such a long time to make. And the actual code for it, I will tell you, is 5502, and it is the Catching Waves cardi, and the original examples are in like a mint and white and orange, maybe, I I can't remember. But anyway, I've used Serdar Snuggly Replay in double knit. It comes in double knit. Why did I say it like that? Replay. I use Replay a lot while I was pregnant for Annalise's clothes, because I just love the colour and I love how the fabric feels. The tones in Replay are vibrant, but then they've almost got a matte feeling to them, or like a denim-y feel to them. Not feel, sorry, but like look to them. So for example, this is their red, but see how it looks more like a pink. This is obviously like their grape colour. I think it's called Blast Off Berry. Orange Squashed. Blast Off. No, Rocket Red maybe. Yeah. Rocket Red. And then Mauve Mayhem. The colour tones that I used. The colours that I used. My brain, honestly. But I guess if this didn't have that kind of... It's almost got like a little grey tinge to it. And it just takes that like real vibrant, shocking in your face tones and has this lovely, like almost baby friendly vibrancy to them. I love colour. I'm always going to love colour. I'm an art teacher. I wear crazy clothes, usually pattern on pattern and things. So I think I said that last time as well. God, I need to get a new part of my identity to talk about. But I just love colour, and there was no way I'm going to be making neutrals for my baby. I'm just not a neutrals person. Beige Brigade is just not my, it's just not my vibe. It's not my parade. I'm all for the colours. I've made this in the 9 to 12 size, and it's taken me so long to make it. I probably finished it last week maybe, and she's worn it nearly every day since, because I've been like, she's got to get the wear out of it. But what I found as well with the yarn is there's an element of like stretch to it. I think it's 50%, let me see. I feel like it's 50% cotton, 50% nylon, or 60-40 or something like that. But regardless, it's quite cooling in the sense that it's got cotton in it, it breathes a little bit, but also you can wash it and it's really like baby friendly and parent friendly as well. So I always use Replay. Replay's just worked out really well for me. And the things I made when I was pregnant for her, the whole time when she was really little, she wore them a lot. And I washed them and bunged them in with everything else, and they were fine. So I really recommend Serdar Replay. For all knits really, I would use it for my own knits, definitely. I think I knit this on 3.25. Again, I'm a loose knitter. It calls for 4s, I think. And it's lovely. It has this like wave pattern to it, like this. So it's obviously made with yarn overs and knits together. So you make this, it's like a feather and fan pattern, right? That's the original name for this type of technique, this type of stitch pattern, sorry. Yeah, but it makes this lovely like effect here. The only downside I would say to the pattern, I'm just going to put some pillows here because my back. The only downside I would say is, just aching constantly nowadays, is that it's a piece pattern, which happens a lot in traditional English knitting patterns where everything is knitted, each garment is knitted by piece. So you knit a sleeve, you knit a second sleeve, you knit a back, 2 fronts, and then you join together, knit the button band, and then you have a whole cardigan. Which is good in some ways because, one, it means that, this sounds silly, but when you're near the end, you haven't got to carry around a whole, like when you're near the end of your knitting, you haven't got to carry around a whole garment. Like I think I did the 2 fronts and then the sleeves and then the back. So obviously the pieces that you're using, you're holding are much smaller, which sounds really lazy when I'm working on a piece this big, but still. But the only problem is you have to then sew things up. And if you're not that driven and not motivated to finish things, or you're too tired, it's a different process. It's a different energy that you're using to sew things up. You have to concentrate. And I think that's what's usually the issue with piece patterns for me, is that if I haven't had to concentrate a lot for the rest of the pattern because I've just been knitting and watching TV or whatever in the car, to then sew up, I'm not going to sew garments up in the car. I'm not going to sew them up if there's lots of noise around and I don't have like a flat surface to work on because I'll do it wrong. So this sat in my like whip box in the living room for a good like month. And that's why I'm really hoping that she gets loads of wear out of it this autumn. I feel like it's a little bit summery, but it is autumnal as well. She wore it to the pumpkin patch on Sunday, which was very cute. And I'll try and put some pictures in if I remember how to do that. But because of like the orange tones and the reds, it does work that way. And I wasn't a big purple person before I had Annalise, but I really enjoy purple on her. It's not as in your face feminine as light pinks and pretty pinks and whites. And also light pinks and whites are just not easy to maintain because she gets banana on them. So, or her nappy legs or whatever. So whereas this is fun and funky and relatively modern and vibrant and yeah, a bit chaotic, and it reminds me of her. And I love this cardi, and I would definitely make one again. I really want to make, my original plan and the video that I did 2 months ago of this episode, I was planning on making a mommy version for me out of possibly the same yarn, maybe different ones. I found a pattern, I bought it. It was a Serdar pattern from 2011 that had the same feather and fan. It was a cardigan feather and fan pattern, and I was just going to kind of try and make it look as close to this as possible. And then my plan was to wear it for our birthdays because our birthdays are 5 days apart. Yes, it took me 5 days to have her. But I just haven't got round to it, and the pattern is upstairs. I found it on eBay. A private seller was selling it because it's no longer available from Serdar. And maybe after this video I might do it, but I probably won't do it. And I'd love to say that I would, but it means buying more yarn, and I just don't know if I have it in me to sew everything up again. I'd need to make it in like a wool as opposed to like a cotton, because I'm not going to wear it really. I'm not going to wear it now if it's just like a thin, or maybe I would, I don't know. I just know that if I've got to make a me-sized garment in a month's time, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather work on other things for her. So, yeah, we'll see. But I would have liked to make a mommy version of it because it is just the sweetest thing, and obviously she's not going to be able to wear it forever. Yeah. And over the colours take forever to sew in, and as you can see, bits are kind of popping out, little ends. I did do quite well at weaving things in, and then I just couldn't be bothered anymore and just tucked them in and thought, you can wear it to Glowbugs. Glowbugs sensory class is in the dark anyway, so no one's going to see. But it is. Here's the Catching Waves anyway. I've talked about it for a really long time because I love it, and I'm really proud of it. Yeah. Okay, I might go back to that finished object, but I might not. So I'm going to just quickly go on to whips while I have time. So this is my first whip. This is an Elizabeth Scarlett bag. I love Elizabeth Scarlett bags. I have a few of them now. I get them for presents a lot. They're a really good project bag to take around with you, and they're super fancy. Look at this beautiful one. I think I bought this for myself actually last year, but I have some that I got from family too, and they're great for like smaller projects. Probably not fitting whole garments in for yourself or blankets or things, but hats and socks and baby stuff kids wear is fine. So this will be, oh god, it's really wrinkled. That's awful, isn't it? Just straighten it out. This is going to be the Calendula jumper. Well, it is a Calendula jumper, it's just not finished. And that's by Sandra Magalhaes. I always have to look at Sandra's name, and I'm probably not pronouncing it right at all. If you do not know Sandra's work, I talked about her work because I did the Serrana jumper last year as a test knit, I think, and it was in my previous video. She's an incredible children's and baby knitwear designer, and she also makes patterns for dolls that match, so that the doll clothes match the children's clothes, which is, again, is adorable. And if only I had all the time in the world to knit, I would do all of them. So if you haven't happened upon Sandra's work, then please do try and check it out. This is the Calendula, which is just a lovely top down, really simple raglan jumper pattern, sweater pattern, and I've knit it in a yarn I've never seen. I didn't really see it before. It didn't really come onto my peripheral vision at all until I started this project, until I saw it in a sale box, is the truth. And it's Rico Baby Dream double knit. Here's a ball of it, not looking very Instagram friendly, and it has a 30% off marked price sticker on it, so I'll just move that. Oh no, I've ripped it. ripped this thing. Anyway, this is it looks like this, Rico Dream. And it's a luxury touch, it says. You get 50 grams. It's 50% acrylic, 50% polyamide, which is a nylon, right? Which I'm not usually all for. I'm usually not about like nylons and things, even though I do like a third eye replay, as I just said. But you can wash it at Thursday. You can't tumble it, but you can iron it on a cool setting as well. And I'm just all for the ease of things. What I would say is, and I thought this before, really. I did think this before I had her. I knit a lot in natural yarns, or in wool, basically sheep's wool, alpaca. I like to buy a lot of, is that what it's called? Natural yarn. I don't know if that's even the right phrase, but anyway, I'm not really making much baby things in it because you just have to wash it, and it's really sweet of people to make things in merinos and lovely yarns, but if you have to like dry, like lie it flat after a hand wash, it's not going to happen. It's not going to get washed. It's going to get shoved in a cupboard. So I'm all for the ease of maintenance, and as well as things feeling like they're made of natural wool. So this feels very soft. It feels a bit like an alpaca yarn. It doesn't smell like it. Why did I sniff it? Like I'd know it. If it smelled like an animal, I'd be concerned because it's made from nylon. But it's knitted up really nicely. It's a double knit, and obviously the main section is cream. Cream I've not really knitted with before. It's not really I'm going back on what I've just said, what a hypocrite, about neutrals and beige brigades. But then I've teamed it with this real mixed yarn. This is all I have left of it. I only bought one ball. There was only one ball in the sale bin at Abercarn in Shrewsbury. And then I got, I think, 3 of these, possibly. And I reckon, a crochet hook. I reckon I'll definitely start the next ball. That's not enough to do the rest of the sleeves, is it? No. But I added in this striped pattern, and because of the gradient of the pink and ochre coloured yarn, it's created this nice gradiented stripe effect. I'm really enjoying it. It's top down. I'm happy with it. I started at the same time as my mum started the same version. She's never really done any top down knitting before, so I said, look, I'll talk you through it and we'll do the same garment together. So she's doing a version that is the other way around, so it's got kind of a colour blocked rib at the bottom and top, and then the rest of it is like a blue and pink and purple colourway, I think, from what I can remember. And we started it on holiday in Anglesey just before the end of the summer holidays, just before I started back at work, which was a really lovely, again, process over outcome. She's probably going to wear this twice, but it was a lovely thing to think that me and Mum were doing it together, as a grandma, as a nanny and a mum. And then like the next day she started crawling, so I'll always look at it and think of that. But it's not finished, and it's a 9 to 12 sizing, and I don't even know if it's going to fit her by the time I finished it. I do need to just sit down and finish it, but I just get distracted by other projects. So I just need to do the sleeves, but a typical sleeve island thing, And I'm knitting it on little shorties as well. So the little Symphony Knit Pro Symphonies sock, so you don't have to do any magic loop. But it is a bit fiddly, really. I'm not the biggest fan of using these. I used to be, but on the smaller size needles, it's not my favourite, really. But I just need to finish it. But it's lovely. It's a Calendula. I think it's going to wash well. I think it's going to wear well, hopefully. And that's my main whip after I finished. I started that at a similar time. I think I'd already done a few pieces of the Catching Waves, and I just ended up thinking I'll just finish this one first and get it done, because sewing up, yeah, that took kind of precedent over this one. They actually go together. Oh my gosh, they're like a little collection. Oh my goodness me. I did that without even knowing, but they're like a similar colourway. What can I say? Grew up watching Project Runway. No, I didn't, not really. That's a lie. I watched it a few times. Yeah, so that's my first, really, my only active whip that is knitting. So I just need to sit and do it. Yeah. So my other whip that I have been working on is a crochet whip. Ah, shocker. I'm going over to the dark side here, and my mum's taught me to crochet, and this was a bit of a ploy for maintaining some level of creativity slash not me time, but just using my brain for something just for me, as opposed to thinking about baby and then thinking about work when I was returning to work. So I got my mum to teach me to crochet like a week before I started back at work, and I went a bit crazy. And she somewhere, I think they're actually on the fridge. There's a little drawing of how my mum explained how crochet works, because no matter what anybody says, it is very different. Well, like everyone says that it's different to knitting, and it is. I'm left-handed, but I knit right-handed because my mum taught me right-handed, but I crochet left-handed. And what I found is, from knitting, I realised that my right hand was getting very strong, even though that I'm quite dexterous and obviously doing art every day at school. I use my hands a lot, but I've realised crocheting, my left wrist can't handle it. I'm obviously I haven't got a very good technique with my tension yet, so I need to get there. And then I went a bit mad and bought loads of crochet hooks that are even in the same size, to be honest, or similar sizes, but just wanted to try different ones out. So yeah, I've got a bag full of crochet hooks here too. Anyway, so I started doing granny squares. I'll try and find the cute little picture that my mum did of how to crochet. I'm going to find it. I'm just going to go and find it, one sec. I can't find it, which is really annoying. It's over there. Maybe it's over there. Hang on. I just found some notes I need for one of the projects. There we go. And another crochet hook. So I went a bit crazy knitting granny squares, and they're all different sizes because I knitted them with different hooks, in the sense I was trying to work out my tension. Some of them are huge, so like massive, versus some other. This is supposed to be the same size. They're both 4 rows. Look how tiny it is compared to that one. So my idea is to make a blanket for Annalise for her first birthday. Very blanket heavy today with my episode. And almost as a glow up from this blanket, I'm going to make a new one. And my idea is to make it using a picture that I saw on Pinterest when I was just researching for different things. This is a graphic that someone has drawn, and then I'll try and put in the actual picture of what this becomes. And there's not, unfortunately, an artist or a maker credited to creating this. However, it's similar. I've looked on Ravelry, and it's a similar pattern to the Babette blanket by Kathy Merrick. It's similar, and it's the idea that you use different sized granny squares to create a larger blanket. And even though I've just said that I don't really like sewing up, this is where we are now. So this is the pattern. So you use, and it's free, so I'm just going to show you. This version is free. I'm not sure about Kathy's version, but there are there are squares that are 2 rows big, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 is the largest size, and it makes this massive blanket. However, I realised halfway through that this is for like a double bed size. So realistically, I only really need to make it this big, which will make me feel better, even though crocheting is quicker than I only need to make it this big. It's obviously so much quicker than knitting, which is very annoying because now I've got become addicted to crochet and only crocheting granny squares. But I've worked out how many of each I need, and I've just been making granny squares. So I've done it out of, again, I'm a Serdar girl, fan, groupie, and I had this wool in my stash that was just from Poundland. It was like a colourful acrylic, like a rainbow acrylic. So I did a few of those, and I was like, well, this is quite nice. This is a big one of it. But I'm not too fussed about it now, to be honest, but you can't really see the holes in it. You can't really see that it's a granny square. It just looks like a bit of a mush. See? Mushy. So instead, I took I thought I'm going to do rainbow. I'm going to do rainbow because we love colour. So I bought, I must have bought, I didn't buy red because I'm not mad on red, but I bought this is all Serdar Stories, which is basically the cool older sibling of Replay. Replay is for like young children and babies, more so young children. Stories is for, I guess it's kind of marketed towards more teenage and 20-year-old like kind of garments. I'm talking ridiculousness, but see how the colours are much brighter, right? If we compare it to the Catching Waves here. I should just show you the actual colours of my purple and orange. So the purple and orange and pink of the Stories look like this, whereas the Replay looks like this. So these are a much muted colour palette for the Replay. The Stories is much brighter. So I bought the pink. I bought the rainbow originally, just the original tone. So red, orange, yellow. I'm sure you know what the rainbow is. The green, which I've really ran out of, which is that tone. This tone, this kind of tealy green. The dark blue. I'm not doing very well at holding these. Then the purple, and I'll tell you the names in a minute. And then I realised that even though these are gorgeous, primary and secondary just won't do it for me. So I had to then go out and buy the tertiary tones. So I've bought a lilac, a light pink, a light green, and a light blue. So I have, let's put them in colour order, that was annoying me. I have like the tertiary tones as well. So I actually have 10 different colours to work with. And I have been working with them. These are them all together. So I've made a rainbow. Is it 10? It must be 10 row. Granny square. And I'm currently also doing, if I can find it, in amongst all the yarn. I'm going to really regret throwing all those down there like that. I'm doing it the other way around. So I've got the rainbow going outwards, but this one's going to be the rainbow going inwards. So the red will be on the outside, and then orange, and then it'll go in. See? So I'm making granny squares of that. And I'm going to use white, which I have here, to put it all together, so I have a white outline. A good tip, I'm so proud of doing this myself, I'm quite organised when it comes to knowing what yarn I've used and things. I do use Ravelry, I do use a little book to write everything down in all my projects and all my colours and yarns and where I got them from and things. But if you take the colour, the ball band, and then you tie a sample of that yarn around it, one, it means that you know what you're working with and the washing instructions and all those things without looking it up. But also, if you want to go and find the colour again in a yarn shop, you have them ready. And look how cute this is with them all together. This is a work of art, regardless of the blanket, if like the blanket ever gets done. Just this fine art fan. And I'll tell you the colours. So the dark pink is called Pillow Talk. The orange is Fire. Yellow, I lied, is actually a replay, because I don't think they had the yellow in Stories, but it's basically the same. It's Good as Gold. Back to Stories. Picnic is a light green. The dark green I don't have on this because I already bought it. The dark green, I can't remember the name of at all. I'll put it here if I remember to. The light blue is Surf. Dark blue is Calmer, which is more like an indigo blue. It's lovely. The real purple is Parade. The lilac is Dreamers. And the light pink is Beach Club. And they are gorgeous, and they are vibrant, and they are in your face, and extroverted, and boisterous, and hyperactive, and I love them. They are brilliant, and they are taking up the whole sofa now. And that's my husband with my baby. 1 second. Who's this? Who's just woken up? Who is he? Who's that? Who's that baby? Who's that? Should we take this out? Hi everybody, this is Annalise. She just had a nap. She's 10.5 months old. She's got her pumpkin dress on. That is a size 18 to 24 months, by the way. And we just talked about your blanket, baby, for your birthday. Yeah? She's also got a cold, so She's really rosy cheeked. Yeah, is it nice seeing you on the screen? Can you wave? Say hi. Say hello. Say hello, 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 hello. Let's sparkle and shine. I just woke up, Mummy. I'm not up for performing right now. Yeah, we should talk about your blanket. That's what I think of it, Mummy. Yeah. Okay, so let you go and play. She's beautiful. Ready? You're standing up. You're going to pull the tripod down now. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry I took your dummy off you. Yeah. I guess that's all the time we have. That's all we have time for. Is that the phrase? And the tripod's about to go. Oh, bless them. I just asked my husband if you could just take Annalise back upstairs just so I could finish off. But she left her bunny. So I'm just going to leave Flopsy there. I'll be very quick, she says. I said I'll be 10 minutes. And it's 4:30, so I'm going to lose light anyway soon. Anyway, these are just the crochet squares that I've been working on. I've been doing size 4s, and as I said, I've done a few bigger ones. And I have this many so far. A lot of them are full single colour squares. But then I've started as well. I was really scared to then work out how to add different colours in. And I did it very early on. And then I think I had that moment where my tension kept changing. And I just kind of lost a bit of confidence in crochet. And instead that's why I started going back on to do my knitting and doing the cardigans and things. I'm back on it now. I've actually worked out that they're not too far off. And if I block them all together and sew them up, they should be fine. I mean, they're slightly different sizes. So then I started doing mixed colours, and I haven't been planning them, which is very unlike me, because even though I'm quite scatty, I feel like I do like to plan things a little bit. So I've kind of mixed up colours. Really, a lot of them are harmonious colours. Like these are kind of harmonious with a contrasting, so colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel with a random contrasting colour. So for example, red and green are the contrasting, but then the red, pink and the purple are the harmonious with each other. And then purple and yellow are contrasting, but I've put them with the harmonious colours together. So they kind of do, there is some element, like the harmonious colours all together do just look beautifully fabulous. Can't really see them, but they are lovely. I made this one while I was watching Encanto, and then I realised that it's the colour of Mirabelle, which has got me onto other ideas of other things, other projects I could do in the future that I won't talk about yet, but watch this space. So yeah, I've started doing some mixed little granny squares of different colours too. And that brings me on to that post-it note that I just found that was like, how many times have you used that colour for round 1? How many times have you used that colour for round 2? So I've started to try and get an element of order to it, but really I don't mind that it's really random. And I think I've looked at a lot of granny square blankets and the granny square garments, and they look the best when they are a bit random. But it will annoy me if there are colours that are next to each other. They've got the same. That can't happen because of the same colour on the outside, so I have to. And then I wouldn't be that mad about this one because the dark pink and that dark pink. I have enough colours, I feel like, in 10 different shades to really like mix up what's next to each other. But I've got this idea, this plan of future me sitting on the floor surrounded by granny squares and like really working out which one goes by which one. And then I think about the fact that I have a baby that can crawl and loves to play with all of the yarn and pull it apart and play with the colours. So that might have to be an after bed activity, which at this point she doesn't sleep very well. And I'm so exhausted by the time she does go to sleep that I just want to go to bed myself, so it might not get done. But yeah, those are all my lovely granny squares, my lovely rainbow granny square blanket. I'm really excited to do for Annalise's birthday as a celebration of her and how vibrant she is and how wonderfully colourful she has made our lives since she's been here. she's just the best, and I love being her mom. And you know what? I actually had to change onto my new phone. That's my old phone. It's much better at uploading things to my laptop. Another reason why I didn't get around to editing this first one was because it took so long to upload my Pixel. So that's my old iPhone. Anyway, I won't begrudge Annalise for not letting me crochet and knit very much anymore, because I'm so glad that she's here and that she's my daughter and that we do so much together. She's like my little best mate, and I just love having her. So I'm glad we're doing lots of family stuff. It just means obviously me time is shrunk down to very minimal amount, and that's taken a lot of getting used to, because I think I used to have a lot of time to work on things that I really enjoyed, and that hasn't really happened that much, although my husband is very good at giving me time to some me time. It's just the level of exhaustion that comes with everything. Yeah. You can hear them upstairs, but she's really giggling at something, so we're obviously playing upstairs. So I keep saying I'm going to be very quick and then talking. I've done one of the sneaky socks. It's right here. One of them. I need to do the second one. I showed my husband it because I took it to hospital with me and then didn't get anything done because contractions suck. So this is the second one. I'm on this much at the second one. This is I talked about this in the first episode. This is the first one. It's finished. The only problem is the length of the leg versus the length of the foot. Oh my god, so sheepy. The foot does fit him, but it's just really it fits him, and then the leg section feels really long on him because he doesn't really wear like long socks. So I could just like cut it and then get rid of this much, but this is about 4 hours worth of work and it just really pains me to do that. I'm not very good at frogging things, so maybe I'll just leave them baggy. I just need to finish the other one, but then this one won't match. I don't know, I'm trying to match them up. Will I get it done by Christmas? Who knows. But I'll talk about this more at another point, probably when I finish the second one, which will probably be in like 5 years time. But anyway, it's West Yorkshire Spinners, a signature 4-ply in Mallard, which is this beautiful bird, one of the bird colourways. It smells amazing. It's 75% wool, 25% nylon, 25% of the wool, or 35% I think, is Blueface Leicester, so it's really hard wearing, really sheepy. But I think it's also washable. I think you can machine wash them, which is just great for socks. And I have a pair that I made in the Kingfisher colourway, and I love the first pair of socks I ever made for myself or ever. And even though my mum says, what's the point of knitting socks? She's never knitted a sock and she's never experienced what it's like to have handmade socks on. So I definitely want to finish these for him for Christmas, because I feel like they're like a year coming. I remember being in being in hospital and contractions happening, and in between being like, I'm trying to make these socks for Christmas, can you just look at them and try them on to make sure they're alright? So again, maybe they're a little bit trauma inducing, but these are the sneaky socks. He knows about them. They're no longer sneaky, and they're living in this project bag, and I take it with me every time I do a long drive, and then I don't work on them. I work on something else instead. My acquisitions, I have got some things in the post. I just got an email from Warehouse saying that my drops order is on its way. I've ordered some lovely chunky yarn, some alpaca, some Andes, drops Andes for some Christmas knits, which I might be able to talk about in the next podcast if I get around to it. And then some Lima, which I've never worked with before, but again, it's that wool alpaca blend that everyone talks about. And I've ordered some fancy vibrant colours, so again, Annalise something funky and fun for her. I just love seeing somebody I made in something I made. There's something like a handmade garment, I think, that just proves that you love that person. So I'm really happy to have a baby that I can make for now. My plans, and I'm not going to be like ready for this. Okay, while I try and load this on my old phone, my plan for, let me just do one thing at a time, hang on. Okay, my plan for the drops Andes, I bought it in orange, which is this bright, vibrant, autumnal pumpkin orange. I'm going to make the Cozy Cabled Cowl by Emily Baldwin. Emily Baldwin. It's on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. You know, I love a free pattern. It looks like this. I'll put a proper picture in, probably. I'm going to make it as a cowl because I just want a big, super chunky. Oh, look at it as the cowl though. Again, I'm not into neutrals, but just look at that gorgeous scarf. I'm going to make it just, I love a big chunky scarf, and it's chunky scarf weather now. We've had a strange autumn where it's been really warm. Then all of a sudden, about 3 days ago, we had this massive cold snap come in, and finally it's winter. So I'm hopefully going to make that in the Drops Andes. And then I've also, if I can find it, I have a hat planned that I can't find, that I've saved. I've definitely saved it somewhere. Oh, I'll be able to find it on my Ravelry. Sometimes I think that I'm organised, but actually it just proves that I can't find it. I'm going to make a cabled hat anyway. I'll try and put a picture in here and the name. I've looked at it loads. I've even gone to the thing of actually ordering the yarn for it, so I need to make it that will match. It's got cables on it, and it's a free pattern, and it's a super chunky hat, so it hopefully won't take me very long. And that means I'm going to have some hand knits for myself this year, if I get around to it. If I start making things for my baby instead, and I get some time to actually knit. I always want a stash bust. I always got it in my head that that's really a good thing to do. And even when Annalise had just been born, my main project, because I couldn't really use my hands really that much, when she was asleep or like she was a little grub and I could just pop her down on the bed, was my yarn was everywhere in the house. It was just like all in the back room, in this wardrobe, which was an old wardrobe that we called the wardrobe, but it was just full. It was organised to an extent, but I didn't really know what I had, and I'm somebody that's awful for buying just random skeins of yarn or sweater quantities in sales during lockdown and then not really knowing what to do with them. So I uploaded them all onto my stash on Ravelry, which is a really great feature to use if you haven't used it before. It's brilliant because you can actually, I even weighed them. I did a proper thing. I weighed them and worked out how much, it tells you how much meterage you have of them, and then you can cross-reference that amount to projects, because even if you look for projects, say I don't know, you want to make an anchor sweater by Petite Knit, it will tell you like, oh, a yarn suggestion from your stash, and it will tell you whether you have enough for it in particular things, which is a really good idea, or at least the same materials or the same weight or whatever. So if you don't use the stash feature on Ravelry, definitely do that. I digress. So I have a majority of my stash on there, and then because Annalise's things take up a lot of space, because we've obviously had to convert a whole room of our house into her room, a lot of my yarn has gone up into the loft, which made me cry a little bit when it was happening. Bit of a moment, you know, to be like, it's like like transcending into a different space. My old life is going away for a bit. So it's all in the loft, and because I don't really go in the loft because I don't like using the ladders, I can't really get to it unless Jack goes and gets it for me, which obviously is not on our priority list at all. So I keep buying more yarn. It's almost like my stash doesn't exist. So I'd love to say I'm going to stash bust next year. I'm not going to buy any yarn, but that's a ridiculous statement for myself to make, because every time I go on holiday with my mum, we have to buy a skein of yarn as a souvenir, and if I like a colourway and I want to squish it and I think it's gorgeous, I'll buy it. And I've got, instead of buying clothes from charity shops, I just buy yarn instead from local yarn shops, or instead of buying souvenirs, I would rather buy yarn, or instead of going, you know, spending loads of money on getting dessert at dinner, I'll be like, dessert's £7 now, and you go places. That's definitely a ball of yarn. So I'm not very good at stash busting, although I'd love to say that I'm going to do that. But I'd like to think that I'm going to try and match some projects that I want to do to some of my stash so that I can get rid of some of it and reduce it down, and also use it as opposed to just sitting in the loft and gathering dust, because I've got some really beautiful pieces up there that are really beautiful skeins that are like works of art themselves. So maybe that's a plan, maybe for 2024, who knows. But I definitely am going to do a video, I think, of everything I've made for Annalise, everything I made for the first 12 months of my baby's life, including the things that I've just talked about, but also a lot of the things that I made before. The majority will be things that I made before I had her, obviously. So a lot of the things that she wore a lot, a lot of the things that she didn't really wear at all, or things that I still use now that are really helpful. So a bit of like a, if I was you and I was knitting for myself who was pregnant, or for somebody I knew and loved that was pregnant, and I want to make gifts for people, what are things that have worked well practically versus what happened. I've got loads of baby yarn that, or at least baby friendly yarn that is just not really going to be used, so I'd like to do something with that at some point, and talk about that at some point. I've got an idea for another crochet / knitting project that I'm really excited about, but I don't want to talk about too much yet because it might not happen, and it probably won't happen. But again, realistically, I'm trying to be realistic. I tell myself that, but then I'll go and buy more. Like I spent a good amount of money the other day in the drop sale after work because I had a stressful day. Thought, you deserve yarn. Other people go for pints, and I'm like, get me to a wool shop. So yeah, that's my episode 2, I think. That's my episode 2 done. Thank you for sticking with me if you have. This probably hasn't made any sense. I hope that I can edit it. I'm not probably going to edit it too much because it will just take me so long. I might just have to shove it on the internet and hope for the best. But thank you for watching if you got this far. I'm Hannah. This has been all of my knitting and my yarny talks. And hopefully I will see you again very soon, and it won't be as long next time. Yeah, I'm going to go play with my baby now.